Elias Vance never expected to be a rich man. He was a carpenter, a builder of things you could touch with your hands, sturdy bookshelves, custom kitchen tables, the solid frame of a house. His world was one of honest sweat and simple pleasures, far removed from the world of high finance where his grandmother, Eleanor, had spent her life. Eleanor Vance had been a legend. Starting as a secretary in a shipping company in the 1960s, she had worked her way up, making shrewd investments and eventually building a portfolio worth over $9 million. Her greatest pride, however, was not her wealth, but her family, specifically, her grandson Elias, who reminded her so much of her own late husband, grounded, honest, and quietly strong. When Eleanor passed away at the age of 92, the family gathered for the reading of her will at the old, wood-paneled offices of her attorney. Elias, dressed in his best, and only, sports coat, sat next to his wife, Chloe, who was 6 months pregnant with their first child. Across the table sat his father, Julian, a man with a perpetual tan and a Rolex that cost more than Elias's truck. Julian had spent his life chasing Eleanor's approval and her money, often through a series of failed entrepreneurial ventures that Eleanor had quietly bailed him out of. The attorney, a woman named Patricia Holloway, cleared her throat. The residuary of the estate, including the primary investment portfolio valued at approximately $9.2 million, is bequeathed to my grandson, Elias Vance, to be held in trust. Elias blinked. I'm sorry, what? Julian shot forward in his chair. That's a mistake. There's been some kind of confusion. I'm her son. Ms. Holloway adjusted her glasses. The terms are very clear, Julian. Eleanor stipulated that the trust is to be managed by Elias. There is a separate, smaller provision for you. She slid a single sheet of paper across the table. It was a check for $100,000. Julian stared at it as if it were a poisonous spider. This is an insult. She wasn't in her right mind. I'll have this whole thing overturned. 4 weeks, Julian seethed. He left voicemails for Elias, ranging from pleading to condescending. Son, you don't know what to do with that kind of money. Let me guide you. We can restructure it, make some aggressive investments I've been looking at. It's what your grandmother would have wanted. Elias, firm but polite, kept his responses simple. Grandma knew what she wanted, Dad. She put it in writing. The tone shifted one Tuesday evening. Elias answered the phone to hear his father's voice, but it was different. The bluster was gone, replaced by something cold and quiet. Elias, I'm not asking anymore. You're going to call that lawyer and you're going to put me on as a co-trustee. If you don't, well, it's a dangerous world out there, especially for a pregnant woman. A chill went down Elias's spine that had nothing to do with the autumn air.